program.
Well, thank you.
All right, it's great to have you. We're getting you lined up here on the Edge Show. We got you in our background now. John Titor, welcome to John Titor II. Welcome to the Edge television broadcast. I caught you over there on Coast. Man, you got some great information. But before we get started, John, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience, the Edge broadcast? Tell them who you are.
John Titor, retired pilot, sometimes time traveler.
Sometimes, okay. Well, anything like a stitch in time. I've heard that before. So, John, tell us a little bit about your history. Now, I did look at your bio, and it says that you were an airman over there at Dulce. Tell us how you got involved with that.
Dulce Base. Phil Schneider, many years ago, came forward and said that they were doing bio-laboratory research, and what they were doing was cloning. And we received some black technology, and they started cloning soldiers. The military complained, and this is their justification, that 70% of the applicants they were getting were unfit for military service. And it's probably even higher right now. But the situation was they needed people that could follow orders, be disciplined enough to learn how to fly, navigate, participate on a team. I was one of 4 clones that were created there. And originally, the way that they engineered you, you didn't know you were cloned.
Hold on, John. Did you say you were cloned?
Yes.
Are you a clone?
Yes.
Are you cloned from a previous John Titor II, or was it John Titor and you got to be number 2?
We arrived at number 2 some time ago, and what happened was I was impersonated. There are hundreds of wannabes out there, and it got to be quite a difficult thing. Originally, there was a book, The Time Traveler's Tale, written. It was a $14.95 book, and now it sells on eBay for about $1,000, I would say, in pristine condition, if you can find one. My book, Disclosed Chronicles of John Titor, in Kindle format, it sells for $9.99, and book format, it's like $28.99. It's, I would say, the most factual book on time travel there is. It's not that hard to do it.
Okay, so you have time traveled yourself?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Where did your original clone come from? I'll start there. Who was the person you were cloned after?
The DNA strands they used.
Okay.
I do know that one of the strains was human, and the other strain was Anunnaki, but I don't know more than that. They've never told me.
Okay, so you think that you were cloned after the Anunnaki?
Some of my DNA does come from the Anunnaki, and even your DNA has Anunnaki DNA in it.
Okay. Well, now, I think my DNA particularly has cowboy DNA in it, but you're saying that there may be this strange mix between cowboy and Anunnaki?
It's a generally accepted fact that the Anunnaki came to this planet and actually took a being very similar to Neanderthal and added their DNA, and what they created was workers to mine for gold. And the best expert on the subject is Lloyd Pye, and his works are on YouTube. He's died and been deceased for many years at this time, but he was absolutely correct when he came up with that. And scientists have investigated our DNA, and they have thoroughly documented our genome, but the issue is that there is a large part of our DNA they don't know what it does. But they also know that our DNA did not come totally from this planet.
Mm-hmm. All right. So how many people in this country do you estimate, what percentage of people are cloned?
For the military, tens of thousands.
Mm-hmm. So when we fight a war, do we generally send out the clones? Because I'm thinking if they're clones, I mean, for one thing, is a clone a human, and would be subject to, say, human rules and regulations, or would it be a clone be considered a development of science and therefore has no value other than the material value of the equipment and things that it took to grow the thing?
I would say that originally clones are not treated any different in the military than the rest of enlisted or volunteers in the military, but their mental capacity is considerably more than the rest of your generic people in the military. Mm-hmm. My mental faculties have been tested, and I use a considerably larger amount of my brain than most humans that use only 10%.
Okay. All right. John, the way this show rolls is people are watching the show. Some are listening on our TuneIn radio program. We're simulcasting on that. So they're sending questions in. And so we don't bring third party callers in, but what I do is I do read these questions. So here's a few for you real quick. It says, this is from guest 195. Do Anunnaki have a certain blood type?
RH.
RH? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you know offhand what the blood type that is on the Shroud of Turin?
No, I do not.
Anybody in the live chat, you want to look that up real quick, see if we can make a connection there. All right, so RH. So is your blood type RH?
Yes.
So if I was to get a blood test and it came up to, say, RH negative or something else other than RH, would that exclude me from the Anunnaki DNA hybrid?
You still are going to have some Anunnaki DNA, no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. And the Anunnaki came to this planet, and they made a very good attempt at colonizing this planet, as they did other planets in the solar system. But unfortunately, they had a war. They had internal struggles, and in a civil war between Enki and Enlil and Yahweh, and they're all mentioned in the Bible. They had a nuclear war on this planet, mm-hmm. and they also had a nuclear war on Mars.
Well, I can see Mars is apparently a devastated place. We're a lot of things going on in the world stage right now. You got Kim Carrot Top Little Dong over there in Korea. He's talking about dropping a nuke. Have you foreseen in the future, does he get involved with the nuclear exchange, or are we going to wipe his fat ass out before that happens?
I believe that Kim Jong-un is a puppet of the People's Republic of China, and they're not able to really control him anymore. They had hoped that they would be. His father and his father's father, they controlled them economically. Mm-hmm. But the problem with Kim Jong-un is that as soon as he can push a button and have a missile hit the United States, he will.
So you agree he's got to be taken out before that?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Okay. So you think we're at a stage now where we either, because that problem has been, that can has been kicked down the road for more than 8 years, even back into the Bush administration. So now here it is landing in the Trump administration. And of course, I think the fleet is heading over there, and of course, Little Dong is taking that as a provocation, probably to get an excuse. But at the same time, I see that China has cut off the gas supplies to North Korea in an attempt to rein the little fat boy in. He's not going to be listening to them. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, well, you have to understand his mental, what he thinks. And he killed a sibling when he was 10 or 12 years old. And he did it on purpose. He drowned him in a pool. He's killed family members. He engineered the death of his half-brother, most recently, had him poisoned by North Korean agents. And we know he did it. He's not just a serial killer, but there's something pathologically wrong with him. And he doesn't consider his people anything more than his possession to do with as he will. So I basically told the Donald what I think he should do, and I posted it on the Washington Times. And it's something to think about. North Korea has a very limited navy. They have submarines that can fire missiles. You just take those out first.
So your most recent posting was called "A Battle Plan for North Korea." I wonder if it's time that Japan arm up again. What do you think about that? Take care of their own stage over there. Hang on for a second. Can you hear me now, John? Looks like our audio went out there somehow. All right. Looks like technical difficulties over there on John's side of it. We'll try to get him right back on the line. Stand by. All right. Can you hear me now? Hang on, everybody. We'll get the technical issue. John, can you hear me? Well, once again, the NSA, we want to thank you for hacking into the program, trying to stop this program from taking place. Obviously, when we have high-powered guests, that's what happens. Everybody knows that. We'll get him back on the line here in just a second, hopefully. Meanwhile, everybody, hey, Grandma, I see you're in a live chat. You want to pass out some digital cookies to everybody and while we're waiting here? Of course, maybe John can time travel a little bit and fix the technicals, get some technical assistance there in the future. And this part of the program I'll edit out. I want to go back and see what I said in Randy Place because I don't even believe what I said. So, all right, it is ringing. Wow. No answer? Wow.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I had to go to a different system.
Okay.
Every word that I say, I should tell you. Pretty much anything going out of the studio. And if somebody else doesn't like it, sometimes I have technical difficulty.
Is your video on, or did I?
We lost video.
Okay.
But we can continue the conversation. You still have my picture up, or do you want me to go to a different system?
Well, I am prepared for that. We can. I go ahead and put a still up of John, and if the video is an issue, then we'll just go to the Okay, I've got your picture back up.
All right. So North Korea, it's volatile. We're looking at China and Russia. I noticed that we keep intercepting Russian bombers up in Alaska, and this is what Vlad likes to do. He's another sociopath that he likes to flex his muscles and likes to keep his people stirred up about going to war with the United States.
Yeah, they are flying up there by Alaska. They're testing how fast we respond. Is it possible, though, that China is aligning on the border of North Korea? Is it possible that they're just going to go in there and assist them fight the U.S.? Meanwhile, the Russians hit us on the West Coast?
The issue is, and the United States has signed and written agreements. I've seen them. I've read them with extraterrestrials. And the extraterrestrials have spaceports in the United States that they come and go freely from. One is in Dulce, New Mexico, and the other is at what is called Creech Air Force Base. The Tall Whites have a spaceport there. It's been there since the early 60s. Same thing, Dulce, New Mexico. There is another spaceport off the east coast of Florida and the west coast of the United States. Basically, the agreements say mutual defense. Would they come to our defense? Yes. We have documented accounts from the KGB of them going to dogfights with spacecraft. Russia, 0. Spacecraft, dozens. The Russians won't fess up how many times they lost fighter jets trying to go up and spar with extraterrestrials and were shot down.
John, you've had intensive training on the TR-3B spacecraft. Describe the capabilities of that spacecraft.
Faster than the speed of light.
All right, there's one. What else can it do? What kind of weaponry does it have? I don't think that I'm allowed to discuss that, but I would say that one of the things that the United States government has received from extraterrestrials is what we call black technology. And whenever I try to talk about black technology or I write something about it, it's usually there's an interruption in the signal. Or the other thing that happens is I send the document to be published, and then the publisher says, we had it, we don't have it now. So that's what happens. But I will tell you that we have weaponry that is more than equal to any instance we might come up against with China or the Russians. It's something they know about, and they've known about it. Even Kim Jong-un likes to say that he's going to disclose that we have a moon base. And do we have a secret space program? Yes. 2 off-world colonies. One is almost self-sufficient, light years from our solar system. There are plenty other planets like Earth. We have been, to a very large extent, little more than a science experiment. Well, are you saying that we were grown in an alien petri dish?
Not quite that bad, but I would say that extraterrestrials have been coming to planet Earth for much longer than we ever imagined. Quite recently, and I thought this was astounding, in Antarctica, they found fossils of human beings that were very small, just inches high. And it was a documented fact. They did a whole technical paper on it with photographs. But other species from other worlds have been coming here for a very long time.
And now that really pisses me off, though. You talk about those are the worst illegal immigrants. We're talking about planetary illegal immigrants. I think we need to round them up and put them in some FEMA camps there for them. But let me ask you something, John. On back to the TR-3B spacecraft. How does it navigate? Who and how does it navigate?
Navigation, usually the computers handle it on this planet. When you're navigating on this planet, we have a GPS to use that is very similar to our satellite system, but it's independent. Mm-hmm. There's lots of ways to do navigation. We have it down, I think, to a very competent way of doing it. We navigate the stars very well. Mm-hmm. We struggle with at Edwards, and I think I'm going to say it, Area 51, mm-hmm. is navigating from galaxy to galaxy.
Mm-hmm. Is it powered by dilithium crystals?
No.
All right. Hey, what about the TR-6 Telos? What's the comparison of spacecrafts to that? What can it do?
It's interplanetary, carries weapons that basically can knock out anything that comes up against it. Fife Symington, the governor of Arizona, saw it and was just amazed and reported it. And then later he was told by the government, "You didn't see anything, Fife." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so that's what the government policy has been. And I wanted in my lifetime to make disclosure happen. And eventually disclosure is going to happen, but it's not going to happen the way people think. Because as the planet starts to die and we see that people will start paying to go to other off-world colonies. Mm-hmm. I mean, Elon Musk will sell you a ticket to go to Mars for $100,000. It's a one-way ticket, but he sells it now.
Okay. In your interaction with the alien species, do they have you seen which particular species eats humans?
I've never seen that, and they don't.
Okay, well, I've had a number of guests on the program that said that they do, and I was just wondering, particularly the reptilians.
No, they don't. I've met tall whites, Anunnaki, reptilians, and the Greys. Mm-hmm. They all have different capabilities. Reptilians can shapeshift. Mm-hmm. It's a known fact that we use reptilians within the Secret Service, and we've had them photographed on Obama's detail.
Okay, I think I've seen one of those kind of in the background shape-shifting.
Yes.
Okay. Is Obama a clone?
No. But he's been accused of that.
Okay. Is Michelle a man?
No.
She's been accused of that. So,
she has.
But
the fact of the matter is, they can clone body parts for VIPs and replace a lung, a heart, whatever they need. It has to be high-level government official. It can be done. Mm-hmm. They manufacture it at Dulce.
Mm-hmm. What else is going on at Dulce? What's the major thrust? What kind of technology do they have there?
The biomedical labs can just about do anything as far as creating a human being, a super soldier, run farther, faster, hold their breath longer. Stamina is one of the things. But mental acuity, multitasking, I would say juggling lots of balls and still being in a very stressful situation.
They gay?
No. But
Okay.
I'm saying juggling tasks.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's get back to some of these questions that have been piling up on us, John. And this is from Mandy Tom says, if a clone dies, if your clone dies, do you feel it?
Yes. If I die, I would feel it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. And here's a question from Dreamwalker. How far into the future and past have you traveled? The furthest either way, forward or backward?
I think 206 BC and 2100, that's the future.
Mm-hmm.
206 BC.
In the future, what does Earth look like? Is it all? Are all the borders gone and all the countries combined, or is humans still at war? What does that future look like, John?
The future is not bright for mankind. We're using up the planet. The oceans are dying. Great Barrier Reef died. The krill are dying. The penguin population that is monitored in Antarctica is down 85%.
Wait a minute, we're talking about the penguins?
Yes, the penguins. Population is down 85%.
That's sad. I always felt sorry for them. Those ones that, like I see like a Frozen Planet thing on Netflix, and they're like all these penguins, and they're all like, it's like minus 50, and they're all huddling together, trying to heat up the little penguins. But you're saying that they're dying off, and that represents a problem with the planet?
Yes. They live off small fish. The small fish eat krill. Mm-hmm. Even the whales eat krill.
Okay. Now,
the krill is dying out.
Do penguins time travel?
No.
Okay. Just throwing that out there. All right, let's get a few more of these questions here. And this is from Phil, North Carolina. He says, why doesn't the Navy take the SEALs, like SEAL Team 6, and just off Lil Dong?
That's not really a bad idea. I'm hoping that he'll finally step over the line too far, and his own people will kill him. Mm-hmm. He killed his aunt and uncle. Mm-hmm. He had one general tied to the end of a howitzer, I think, and then executed that way, and another one he had placed on a target and had the howitzer shoot him. So,
well, I'll tell you what, man. I think before they kill him, they should torture him and then take away his ho-hos for a week, and that way they can torture him. I think that'd be a good thing to do. All right, let's get some more of these questions in here. It says, in the future, do you see or have you seen North Korea use the nuclear weapon?
They've attempted to detonate and misdetonated things in the past, and later called it a big explosion. But it is not out of the realm of possibility that they will have a missile hit the United States.
Okay, John Titor, let me ask you something. Recently, the North Koreans attempted to launch a missile, probably against South Korea, but it exploded on the tarmac. I understand. Did the United States hack the launch computer?
I won't comment on that one. I won't.
Okay. Alrighty.
And there's some obvious reasons.
Okay.
Do we hack them, and do they hack us? Cyber warfare.
Well, I don't know that they could hack anybody. They don't seem that smart. With haircuts like they got, they can't be that smart.
Well, what I understand is haircuts are dictated by their own government with how they cut their hair. But the reality is the North Koreans, I believe, have hacked financial institutions all over the world, and they've actually made money. I believe it's in the billions.
Mm-hmm. Well, you think the boy could afford a good barber? All right, let's get to another question for you. Since you are a clone, would that mean that you do not have a soul or a spirit?
I have a soul and I have a spirit.
Okay. John, where did those come from?
Most beings, just being alive, it's a hand-in-hand thing.
It's
Goes
what?
with the territory.
Where did the soul? Wait a minute now. I can understand the organic way of say hybridizing DNA from say the unseen Anunnaki with humans. So I can see that part. But where does the soul get injected? Where does it come from?
It's not injected. Being alive, it's part of life.
Okay, so
I've asked this question myself, and the answer is that I get from scientists and people at the biolabs at Dulce. They say, you're alive, you have a soul, you have a spirit. It's not unlike any other human being or any other living being in the galaxy. There are over 80 different species that we know of, and we only have communications with about 6 and agreements with 4.
would you consider a entity species that is invisible to be alive?
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, invisible species have souls as well?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get to this question here. John, it says here that you have or that you live in a protected area. How does that work?
Well, I live in a compound. There are guards here. They're here 24/7. If I go outside the compound in a late model armored Suburban, painted black, and with the windows frosted over a little bit, I get out. My wife lives here with me. It's a nice enough place. There is a house on the property that we live in, and then the guards are armed and shoot. The last trespasser of any consequence tried to get past the gate, and we noted that he was armed. And there are cameras everywhere. We see everything. And he just got the guard dogs. And what happened was the sheriff came and handcuffed him to a gurney, and he went to the hospital. And that was the last I heard about him. But he brandished a weapon, and the guard dogs were released.
So the government considers you such an asset that they guard you 24 hours a day? Or are they guarding you to keep track, or is it reversed and they're really just watching you and controlling your movements?
I get to come and go as I please, but they do watch me, yeah. And I've gone through a couple handlers. They basically try to say, like, we're not going to let you talk to the United Nations, and I've tried. And then I wanted to talk to Congress, and I've tried, and they said, no.
Are they aware that you're doing this broadcast tonight?
They're never far away.
I'm just wondering.
They're not.
I'm just wondering if they hacked your video.
Very likely. It's the NSA. If you just say the right word combination under the program called Epsilon, you'll be targeted, and they will listen to everything you say for a long, long time.
John, how many more people are there out there, such as yourself, that have this information about the various spacecraft and the whole idea that we have vehicles that go the speed of light? How many people know this?
Quite a few in the military. The problem is that they've been scared to the point where they won't even talk about it. I have a very good friend who's a retired commander with the Navy, and he flew jets, and his biggest complaint is he won't even tell his wife, about Area 51, but he's landed there many times. But it's like there's a switch that goes off for these people, and they just clam up. I'm the oddball. I will talk because I want to bring about disclosure.
Did you meet Phil Schneider?
No.
Okay. All right. We have this question. This is from Gord from Canada. He says, John, are crop circles used as temporary markers to help navigate time and space?
Now, crop circles, look at them as a communication from extraterrestrials. And usually the people that have seen the crop circle being created see a very small ball of light that looks like a stylus, if you will. And they bend the vegetation over, and it's done with a great deal of accuracy. The Greys do a very good job with it, and they've been sending us visual messages. And if you look back at all the crop circles ever made worldwide, you would see that we've received messages from extraterrestrials for a very long time. They're trying to communicate with us.
Mm-hmm. What are they trying to say?
A lot of it is you're looking at objects and mathematical equations, and how they think is different from us. They visualize objects and think that we should visualize objects, and then we will understand what they're thinking. The first conversations that I ever held with an extraterrestrial were at first just like we are, sitting, looking at each other, and they could talk. Mm-hmm. But there are many that they use telepathy, and they can tell what you're thinking.
I have been accused of having tinfoil underneath my cowboy hat, and I may or may not have tinfoil under my cowboy hat. If I did, would they be able to read my thoughts?
Yes. That's not going to help you.
Okay. Well, I don't really like the pesky aliens knowing what I'm thinking, man. I think it's like that's kind of like a peeping Tom type of thing there. But okay, so looking at various crop circles, it looks more like art to me. You're saying there's mathematical equations in there. Have we deciphered those crop circles?
Yes.
Some
of them translate to star maps.
Okay. What was the last message that we've got from a crop circle? Do you know?
No, I haven't followed it for a number of years, but
okay.
I've looked at them and marveled at them.
Okay. What about cattle mutilation? Who's doing that?
That is an extraterrestrial thing. And what they're doing is they're monitoring the food chain. And with the extraterrestrials that we have agreements with, the tall whites, the Greys, and the reptilians, they are not supposed to do cattle mutilations. They are not supposed to do abductions. They are not. But it doesn't mean that the over 80 species of extraterrestrials we know about don't do it.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what use do they have for cow gonads? I never did get that part.
Most of the mutilations, I've looked at them, it's usually the area of the mouth that they're very interested in. Mm-hmm. And the cuts are precision, laser cuts. They'll remove an eye or something else like that, mm-hmm. or a stomach. They will look at that. But they are monitoring our food chain. Now, I will say that one of the biggest mysteries that mankind knows about and doesn't really talk enough about is what they call the Black Knight. The Black Knight orbits Earth mm-hmm. from north to south, and it's been up there 13,000 years that we know of. We never attempt to basically connect with it physically, although it did change its orbit around the Earth from east to west one time when Gordon Cooper was orbiting the Earth. Basically, he was scared by it following him, but mm-hmm. he didn't say so. But later, when I spoke to Gordon, he said it scared the hell out of him.
Okay. let's go back to our questions here. This is from Sneaker. It says, if the last time that you traveled, you said that you went 206 negative and 2100 positive. When was the last time that you time traveled, John?
About 2 years ago.
Now, does that mean that you get out of your lockdown house there, your protected bunker house there, and do you travel to a U.S. air base, or can you time travel directly where you're at?
Frequently, when I leave the compound, I have a late model helicopter supplied by the government that we go to Area 51. Sometimes it's Edwards. Also, there are two hangars. And at various times, there is something in the other hangar that will let me fly just about anywhere I want to in the solar system. And I want to upgrade that vehicle. The vehicle was given to me. And I won't give any information to the FAA about it, but they've asked. And I'm trying to trade it up for something that will go further distances. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to finance it. Here's the whole thing. Now, it's easy enough for me to go to the dealership and write a check for a new car, whatever I wanted. Okay? But tell me how I'm going to get financed without the government doing it for me, an upgraded space vehicle.
Well, obviously, if you had the money, you'd like an upgraded space vehicle. So how is it you got your own personal one? Are you that high up in the chain there?
I did a favor for someone, and they did a favor for me.
All right, sounds like a great thing there. Here's another question. This is from Dreamwalker. It says, "How do you time travel, via mind, or do you need a machine?"
I always seem to use machine. I do know people that say they can do it just with their mind. And I am not acquainted with that method at all. I know people that say they can do it, but I've never tried. It's just like remote viewing to a degree, but then you add on the time displacement to it. The government, the U.S. government, let me clarify that, spent millions doing remote viewing, and some people are able to do it very successfully.
Okay. Quick question here says, why are alien eyes so big?
It just goes back to the planet that they originated from, and what the atmosphere was like there, and the resources there that they evolved from. I would say that some extraterrestrial species that come from galaxies at a considerable distance from us look very much like us, but still, like eyes will vary, mental capacity will vary. The Anunnaki, I would say, very different, but the closest approximation of what an Anunnaki looked like, and I've met them on several occasions, would be the pharaoh Akhenaten. If you look at his physical skeletal structure and the cranium skull structure, he's Anunnaki.
You said you went back to 206 negative. Is the TR-3B spacecraft able to time travel?
Yes.
Is it limited to those extremes, or can it go back further, or in the future further as well? Or is that the limitation?
The TR-3B was limited by how many personnel and what kind of stocks of food and ammunition, if you will, those kinds of things that it could carry. The TR-6 Telos is huge and can carry armies anywhere.
Okay. Hey, listen, John, we're right at the top of the hour. We take a 5-minute break here. I've got your book actually in the background called Disclosed Chronicles of John Titor II. Anything you'd like to say about your website or your book? You go right ahead while we take a 5-minute break.
Basically, have several pages on Facebook. The page I like people to read is the Library of John Titor on Facebook, and you just have to ask for membership.
Okay. All right, John. Turn your volume down. We'll be back. We'll keep you on the line, but we'll pot you down, and we'll be back with you in 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to disconnect.
Okay.
And call me back.
Okay. Do you want call or video?
A video.
Okay.
I'll have video restored.
Very good. I'll call you. I'll Skype you on video, and we'll talk in a few.
Okay.
All right, everybody, you're watching and or listening to the Edge television broadcast. On our Newsmaker line tonight is John Titor II, the time traveler, who's also part of was commander of the combat group that eliminated a threat to this planet by extraterrestrials. Be sure to come back in the second hour. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be right back.
Enlightening, entertaining, and controversial. This is the Edge Radio program with your host, Daniel Lott. Welcome back to the Edge Radio program with your host, Daniel Lott.
And welcome back to the Edge television broadcast. My name is Daniel Lott. If you miss any of this exciting program, it will begin to replay in our main player directly after the show. We'll put it into our YouTube channel lineup, which you can subscribe to, get all the latest notifications that we have uploaded a new video. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to our TuneIn radio program, which plays across any device, any platform. Now, we're going to go back and see if we can ring up John Titor in the second hour, go back to video. He's got his tech going, and let's see what we can do with that.
Oh, we don't have video now.
Daggone NSA, man. Tell the people guarding your compound. Here you come. All right, here you go. Hey, John, welcome back to the second hour of the Edge television broadcast.
Thank you.
I guess we got to thank the NSA to getting off the program. Well, welcome back, John. We left off in the first hour. We were talking about off-planet things and clones. Let's get back to a couple more questions, then we'll get back to our regular conversation. It says, when you're talking about time travel, are you ever able to change something in the past or in the future?
Oh, yes.
And what have you changed?
At one point, the Anunnaki tried to recolonize Earth.
Okay.
And they went back to the year, I think it was 206 BC, and they had a considerable landing force, and they were in China, and they were trying to topple the regime of what was the first emperor of China. Mm-hmm. And basically, they would have been easy pickings for the Anunnaki. Mm-hmm. But what happened was I went back with a brigade of highly trained specialists. We met them on the ground. We had time to train the Chinese military on some advanced weapons, and we were able to defeat them. And we also had help from great aliens mm-hmm. in this encounter.
John, have you ever been invited to live off-world?
Yes.
Would you accept? I mean, did you decline, or do you plan on living off-world in the future?
There is some point in the future, and I've been invited by at least 2 extraterrestrial species to live off-world, mm-hmm. and I've actually been asked to be an administrator on one off-world colony sponsored by the United States. So I will probably do it.
John, there's something in our history. Many people claim that extraterrestrials went over an air base and disabled nuclear weapons. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Why wouldn't they go over there with little fat boy, little dong over there, Kim Jong ill sickness guy, whatever that guy's name is, and disable his nukes?
I'm not going to say that they won't do that. There's a very strong likelihood they would do it to the Russians, and the Russians know it. The Chinese know it. The Russians and the Chinese operate on fear and intimidation, particularly Vladimir Putin. But Kim Jong-un, he will push a button, and he might get away with it one time. But we have the ability to stop all this now. This is the time for mankind on the planet to come together and say, we're going to give him the spanking of his life.
Well, can't miss with a fat ass like that. But let me ask you, Russia just recently said that they have an EMP bomb that they can disable our entire fleet. And of course, it's well known that an EMP blast would fry all the electronics. I would imagine that we have a similar bomb.
We do.
And I guess we could fire it on them too, and then we'd both be back in the dark ages, and little dong, then he'd take over the world. That's a bad situation.
That could be. But, the first thing is that you have to position your weapon. And we would see the Russians doing it. An EMP blast of any significance would have to come from a hydrogen bomb. And once you get enough hydrogen bombs going off in the atmosphere, there's something that happens to the planet that will be very bad. And we've told the Russians and the Chinese what happens when you start setting them off. And we can have a reaction in the atmosphere and incinerate the planet. Or there's a likelihood the follow-on would be a nuclear winter. In other words, an ice age all over the planet. And it's happened before.
We had a guest on the program here last year, Andrew Basagio, who was also a presidential candidate. He claimed he was a time traveler. Did you ever meet him in the past?
We have traded messages, and I'm aware of Andrew. We are from different perspectives. My perspective is that I'm a retired military pilot that sometimes gets to time travel.
Well, he claims to have the way he time travel was something called a jump room. Have you ever heard of those?
If he has access to a device engineered by Dr. Michio Kaku, based on quantum mechanics, it is possible, but unlikely. The amount of money it costs billions of dollars to build and test and calibrate. You have to be able to calibrate. And think about this. The first time you send something back in time, what if you just send it to a lava field? Okay?
Well, that goes to my next question for you, John. With the time variations that you've experienced in your time travel, does your device that you use, are you able to dial in a specific year or time or event?
Yes.
Did you go back to 0 BC and see the birth of Jesus?
No. And there are lots of things that I wanted to see and didn't get to see. I did send a team to November 22nd, 1963, and they observed assassins on a grassy knoll.
Okay. Do you know, this is from Kevin in Massachusetts, do you know Corey Good, who was in the secret space program?
I'm acquainted with Corey Goode. I don't know him personally. I hear a lot of things from him and David Wilcock. And one of the problems that we have is, how do you separate science from the fiction that the government would like people to believe? Mm-hmm. And there's a tremendous amount of things out there. Corey Goode, the 20 back, you do 20 years service and then you get it back after 20. I've heard that expression and some other things he said. Mm-hmm. One of the things that happened with my book, the CIA reviewed it and said, it's technically correct. And then I think I talked about civilizations in Antarctica. Mm-hmm. And then later, Corey Goode and Dave Wilcock started talking about civilizations in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm. John, tell us about how that you were, some people claim that you were impersonated on the Art Bell show. What happened with that?
I've been impersonated a few times. And one of the things was, when I first retired, I was living with my wife in Stevenson's Ranch in Valencia, California. And they gave me a name to live under and a set of ID mm-hmm. and credit cards. And they said, behave, and we'll let you live here. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I drove a late model Corvette.
All righty. Trying to take care of you. All right.
And that ID lasted a long time. And then somebody outed my ID. And now I spend most of my time at the compound.
You were unmasked.
Pretty much, and I've had several.
What, the Democrats running that program too?
No, not quite, but I have been given several IDs and mm-hmm. been relocated a couple times, and now I'm at this compound, and this compound will shut down in a few months, and I will move on to Idaho. And I've asked for a compound there, mm-hmm. and I think that it's going to be very secure.
Okay. Tom Jones out of the UK asked this questions. Are the Zetters still abducting people, or do we have that problem under control?
Abductions, I think, are way down, but mm-hmm. the interesting thing is we can't do much with the extraterrestrial off-world species that we don't have agreements with. They come, collect their specimens, and go home.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen medical limb repair technology that involves holographic tech to regrow arms and legs at super fast speeds?
No, I haven't seen that, but they can grow just about everything. Mm-hmm. Replacement parts, arms, legs, they're getting there. Mm-hmm. And as far as organs, also, the brain, no. Now, the one thing that I know that they're working on is transferring the essence of a person's brain to another brain. They're trying. That would be a big leap. But, you've probably seen, they can grow an ear mm-hmm. in a petri dish.
Yeah, I saw one gross picture. I thought it was a mouse that had an ear growing on his back. That was pretty gross there. Phil in North Carolina says, John, when you were in the future of 2100, was the population of the Earth significantly lower, or was it significantly higher?
Mankind was dying out. Crime everywhere.
Okay.
Tribal groups. There's no. The civilization had gone out of mankind at that point. Mm-hmm. Tribal warfare, cannibalism in some areas. Mm-hmm. It just, there's no medical infrastructure. There's no police, mm-hmm. law enforcement. No. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Those that are alive live by their wits, and they're either
tech difficulties. Damn NSA tripping us up again. Alrighty. John, can you hear me now? Not real sure what causes a connection like that to log off like that on any kind of software program. So I have to go with some kind of hack. Let's ring them up again, see what we got. Hello, John. Can you hear me now? Hello, John. All right, let's log that off again. See what we got. Maybe we have to call. Maybe we have to call him on the phone again. That seems to be the most reliable way. Not really seen this problem happen before. Some obscure NSA program hack. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. Hello, John.
Hello, you hear me?
I can hear you now.
So, I have the servers basically swept continuously for Russian and Chinese hackers. They're all over me.
Wow.
The cell phone, I managed to keep them off, but it's a tragedy that the security here isn't better. And I haven't had this much trouble in quite a while.
Are they ramping up your surveillance?
Well, anyone who is silly enough to post the battle plan for North Korea on the Washington Times, you have to realize when I do this stuff, I'm just trying to piss people off.
Mm-hmm. You're doing a good job of it.
Oh, and the NSA, probably tomorrow, my handler is going to swing by with his replacement and say, "You did that, and we didn't want you to say that."
Well, how do we know that they're just not going to replace you with another clone that is more obedient?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I sit on too much knowledge, and the whole thing is, it's like a dead man's switch. Mm-hmm. There were some things that I researched, and that I talk about it in the book, and that will get blasted to the media if something was to happen to me.
Really? Yeah, I think the guy on WikiLeaks has a dead man switch too, and he was supposed to throw that. He was supposed to release some information that would have required that. I guess it wasn't good enough to get to their attention.
Well, I have great respect for Julian Assange because he's trying to actually do something as far as mankind. He's trying to put the truth out there.
Yeah. And John, that brings me back to Democrats. The most damaging information he has seems to be on Democrats and their little plans to overthrow the country and submit us under the tyranny of some world organization. Let's get to a couple more questions. This is from DC Doug for you, John. Do you know of DARPA Project Pegasus, and have you ever used their equipment?
I've been hearing about Pegasus for years, and no, that wasn't a project I was privy to. And it was very compartmentalized, and I'm not sure what's been said about it is correct.
Mm-hmm. We have this question from Tom Jones out of the UK. He said, is there any truth that a nuke will go off somewhere in London, January 2018, or has that timeline changed?
I don't think it'll happen. I will say that. In the book, I talk about preventing World War III and how it was done. And basically, World War III in the book would be started by Iran. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we prevented it once. Mm-hmm. We went back in time and prevented it. I don't know that it'll reoccur.
Yeah, well, see, you're trying to prevent it, and Obama was back there trying to give Iran the nuke, so I don't get it, man. All right, here's a basic question for you, John. What is time?
Time is a linear progression, and it's like a piece of string, you know? Okay. And if you can roll it up, and you can unroll it, okay?
Okay.
And what is unique about time is it's very measurable, down,
Okay.
and almost everything in the galaxy is based on time, and there's never enough of it. I would say it's just something that you have to understand. The clock, it has a lot to do with our rotation around a sun.
Is time on my side? Hey, well, here's the question then for you. Is time a constant?
Yes.
Did Einstein consider time a constant?
I think that he did. But I also, time, the measurement varies. Okay. And the way that it's measured varies from galaxy to galaxy. There's so many solar systems in the Milky Way and orbits around a star. And then there's beings on a planet orbiting that star. And how long it takes that planet to orbit the star, that seems to be the first measurement of time,
So when did time begin?
I would say before the Big Bang.
Does time ever end, John?
No.
So we don't know who started time.
This leads me to one of the things that I've just absolutely decided upon myself. And Kip Thorne, he's at MIT, he's a PhD, and he says that we're all in a computer game, and God has stepped away from the computer for a little while, and we're on our own. And that's Kip Thorne. That's how he deals with reality. I will tell you that there is a supreme being, and there is a plan.
Well,
and is there a plan for this planet?
Okay.
Living it, yes.
So then could we say then that God is before time and after time?
God, and lots of people are going to back me up when I say this, is omnipresent.
Okay.
In the past, in the future, everywhere.
But if so, that means he will be beyond time. So that does sound to me like time has a limit, but God himself doesn't.
Exactly.
Interesting. All right. Here's a question from Tom Jones out of the UK. It says, what is the most interesting technology that you have seen besides time travel?
The weaponry, laser rifles, probably laser weaponry, photon weaponry, the ability to just shoot a stream of atoms for hundreds of miles, and whatever they hit will just be cut.
Okay. Do you know of any extraterrestrials that are on TV or in the media or in government?
I'm not going to out anybody.
Why not?
Not today.
If I knew who they were, I'd out the sons of bitches.
Well, maybe they're working in government and on a Secret Service detail somewhere.
Yeah.
The Russians and the Chinese think that we're controlled by the tall whites, and they've tried to get Obama to admit that. They don't try that with Donald Trump, but they asked him about it publicly several times. Aren't we controlled by the tall whites? Because that's who they really fear, the tall whites.
It seems to me there's a story in the Bible where somebody was able to control time. Somebody in the live chat can put that scripture in there, and we'll talk about it a little bit. A question from Andy Thomas. It says, do you know anything about Planet X?
Nibiru.
When's that thing flying by here, John?
I don't keep up with that on a daily basis, but it's in the neighborhood. In our neighbor. When I say neighborhood, I mean to say our solar system. We will cross paths with it. It's not going to hit us. Nibiru is the home of the Anunnaki traditionally, and I will tell you that I've been there.
Okay, so are there people on Planet X?
Yes, but not people like us. They're Anunnaki.
As Planet X hurls toward us, but I guess not smashing into the planet like some have said, or I guess some have said that it's actually going to park and people will jump down on the Earth. As this flying through space, isn't it extremely cold, or do they have a planetary heating system, or is it the Anunnaki can live in sub-zero space temperatures?
They have a dwarf star that they basically orbit.
Well, how's it moving? Is that dwarf star moving with Planet X?
Yes, it's two solar systems passing by each other.
Okay, so are they both going to enter into our solar system?
They'll get close, just close. And they've been very close in the past.
Do you think anybody should make preparations for Planet X?
No, but I always advocate being a prepper.
Is Planet X going to affect the level of the seas and cause massive flooding?
But global warming will.
But Planet X won't?
No.
Do you think, have you ever heard of a bulge of water in the center of the Earth?
Yes, there is a bulge of water. And basically, the Earth is not perfectly round. And part of the bulge is from the center mass of our planet. So we're a little, not egg-shaped, but we're not perfectly round. So there is a bulge of water, yes. That's a scientific fact.
If that bulge of water, say, was flattened out, would it cause massive flooding?
Oh, yeah.
Is that going to help? Did you see that happen in the future, John?
No, what I saw was global warming, and the seas are going to rise 50, 60 feet.
Okay. Global warming is going to happen?
Yes.
Is global warming caused by man, or is it caused by just weather?
Man.
Okay. Somebody got that scripture we were talking about. It says that in Gideon said that he was able to, he was in the valley of John, and then he stopped the sun stood still and the moon stopped. So it sounds to me like some kind of time stop there. All right, here's another question for you, John. It says, if you go back and you change events in our lifetime, will we still have conflicting memories, sort of like the Mandela effect?
The people that are involved in making the change, yes, you'll have conflicting memories.
If you could go back in time, John, I guess we have been. So I guess maybe I need to rephrase that. But what event would you change? What single event would you change, if you could?
I changed a few. There was some things that I wanted to do. I wanted to do prevent 9/11, and they wouldn't let me. I said, it's very easy. We just go around and arrest everybody about a week before we know where they were, and they would not let me do that.
Was 9/11 an inside job?
No.
Is Alex Jones lying to people?
I don't know Alex Jones.
You don't know him, huh?
Is he a commentator?
He's a funny guy. He's just a funny guy. Okay. Have you brought anything back with you from the past or the future?
Yes.
What do you have?
My wife.
John, and what rhymes with wife is life. So, John, what does your wife think about the things that you say to? I mean, obviously, she knows you're on the phone right now, talking on a national program, and I guess you said earlier that she knows y'all been guarded by 24-hour-a-day surveillance and guys with guns.
She traveled in time with me.
What's that?
She traveled in time with me.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Okay. How did that happen?
Read my book. You'll get all the answers.
It's a family affair. All right.
So quite a bit, yes.
Okay, so you both go now. It doesn't require any kind of medication to travel, right?
No.
Okay. If you could go in the future, couldn't you get access to technology and bring it back and help make this a better world?
I have tried to do that.
And then, but what happened?
Sometimes I'm told, don't let them have that technology.
John, have you ever met yourself in the past?
I know that there was one instance where there was two of me at Edwards Air Force Base.
Okay, there's two of you.
There was two. I was coming back from a mission in time and going to leave shortly, and there was another me there. Yes.
Okay. And what did you say to you?
I didn't say anything. They said, you're on the other end of the base, getting ready to go another mission, and I said, oh, that's nice.
Okay. Okay. So you get along with yourself pretty good.
I do. I like myself, and I'm my best friend.
Okay. But if that guy dies, if you died in another time, would that affect you in the present?
It could.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends.
Once you travel and time travel forward or backwards, and you come back, do you suffer any sort of like a jet lag, only maybe a time travel lag type of thing?
I haven't.
Okay. So they have that technology. Now, where did we get the time travel technology to begin with?
It occurs naturally. Bruce Gernon actually did it in a Cessna. There are some natural portals, but black technology from the Greys was where we got time travel technology that really worked, that could be calibrated and could be described to be very accurate.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever got warped or twisted beyond recognition as a result of time traveling?
No.
So obviously you have never, say, I think like even had maybe in Star Trek or something, and probably in the movie The Philadelphia Experiment. Did you ever materialize inside of like solid rock or a solid object, and then immediately push the button or whatever to get out of it?
No.
Well, how is it that you zero in to where you land? Are you always in the exact spot when you time travel, or do you go somewhere else?
What we try to do as much as we can with line of sight, okay, and knowing exactly where we're going, and calibration means we may send an object to go and come back, and when it goes, it's like a drone, takes a 360-degree snapshot that you look at before you go. That's just being safe, okay? Mm-hmm.
And so you materialize exactly on the ground.
Yes.
Well, what if you went back in time and let's just say where you went, they had bulldozed or something, and the ground was higher than you expected? Wouldn't you materialize in that?
Remember, you send a little device, okay? Does a 360-degree snapshot, also measures the ground height. So all these things are calibrated.
Brings back the data.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what happens to people, say like you go back in the Old West and all of a sudden some kind of device is just floating around taking 3D scans. I wonder what they think about that. Does that freak them out?
Well, it's not that the Old West didn't have encounters with extraterrestrials, and it actually had happened in the 1800s, I believe. There was a crash in Texas, and it was fairly well documented. And then they took the alien that died in the crash and buried him in a local cemetery, and they threw the wreckage down a well. And the farmer that bought that farm and tried to go down in the well got radiation poisoning and all kinds of cysts and boils on his arms and legs, and finally died.
John, is your wife in the house?
She's in speaking distance, and she wants me to go on to my next engagement. We're running out of time.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, maybe would she be happy to come on just to say a quick word about her favorite time travel experience?
At our next interview, I will let her do that.
Okay. All right. We'll look forward in the future. Well, as we wrap up, let's get to this part here. It says that you were in command of a combat group that eliminated the threat to the planet by extraterrestrials. How did you go about doing that?
We had weaponry in position. The Anunnaki landed 3 ships with what I thought was about 1,000 of their foot soldiers. And we set off an EMP device, and it rendered their spacecraft and their very technically advanced laser and pistols and those kinds of weapons basically inoperable.
John, you said that in your next broadcast you will let your wife be on the program. Do you let her wear shoes too?
Yes.
Okay, good. I guess she'd be happy with that. But no, what do you say? What do you guys say? You say like, okay, honey, let's go time to go time traveling?
No, it's more subtle than that, but we talk about it.
Okay. Well, just keeping it real, So, how is it that the people in charge, do they let you bring anybody? Obviously, you guys go as a couple. Can you take somebody else with you time traveling? Anybody you choose?
Yes.
And how do you get clearance for the other people? There's no clearance required? No military experience at all?
Just depends. Wait. One moment. We have to cut this short right here.
Okay.
I have to go, but I will tell you that I will let you do this again, and we'll have more time.
Okay, John. Well, thanks for coming on the program. And
right.
tell your wife thanks to her for letting you be on the program.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.